Hello, my name is Jimmy Vegas and welcome to the seventh in a series of video tutorials on how to make a Minecraft style game in Unity 5. Okay, so if you remember in our last episode we put together a quick little script that will help us keep count on our blocks that we mine. We did it on 3 blocks if you remember. We did it on the dirt, we did it on the grass, and we did it on the dirt and grass blocks. So to quickly recap, I'm just going to spend a minute just doing the gravel one, and after this tutorial, to set yourself up for the next tutorial, you continue doing all the rest. So if you remember, like last time, right click in our scripts folder, click on create and JavaScript. We're going to call this one, let's see, we'll call it take gravel. And now let's double click to open. And again, it'll open up in MonoDevelop. Okay, so as we wait for this to open, as we bring it together, I'll just quickly run through what else we're going to do this tutorial. So remember, just delete that. We're also going to look at some playing with a bit of lighting. We're going to look at putting in the sky, and we're also going to be looking at creating a day and night cycle. Okay, so if you remember, what we're going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste the take grass script into the take gravel, and in the master block counter script, if you remember, is the main script where we keep track of everything. We need to state a new variable. So static var, and we'll call this gravel block. We need to set it as an integer, int, and we'll set it as the base value of 0 as usual. So now underneath here we need to set this GUI. So I'm going to copy and paste, and we're going to follow suit as we've done in the rest. So we go from 10, 25, 40, so then add 15 to this particular value here, 55. We'll set this text here, and we'll call this one gravel blocks. And remember, change your variable here to gravel block. Now, as you are doing this after this tutorial, setting up for all the other blocks, you don't necessarily have to create all of this GUI, as long as you are taking into account the counts just here. Okay, so the reason we need to set everything up is I don't want to waste too much time in tutorials setting up scripts in every single block that we have. You'll be able to take the knowledge you've learned from these few tutorials and apply them to the rest. So your next one here, for example, would be static var and let's say stone block, and then you would apply this script with stone block to all your stone blocks. Okay, so for the gravel block, let's save. And now let's take all our gravel blocks, every single one, in our hierarchy. There we go. Add component, scripts, and then we need to click on take gravel just here, like so. Okay, so that's set. So you continue doing all the other blocks. Like I say, I'm not going to waste time at the moment on this. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we will actually set a sky. If we press play at the moment and we look up, we see just blue. We don't see much of anything. So we can change that. So the first thing to do is we need to put in a skybox. Now Unity 5 by default does not include any skyboxes, which is a little unfortunate, as Unity 4 build did. So for this, what we'll do is if you hold Control and press 9, you'll be presented with something called the Asset Store. Now the Asset Store contains different things that different people have made. You'll need to log in first of all up here, and you should already have an account. I think you have to set up an account when you start Unity up, for the first time. So you can just log in with that there. So once you're logged in or you've created an account and you're all set to go, here all you need to search for, type in classic Skybox and hit enter. So all you need to do on here is search for the classic Skybox. Now you'll notice there are some priced ones, $20, $40. We're going to use the free one, as the intention of all of my tutorials is the ability to create a game for free. You will never have to pay a penny. So you want to go on this top one just here. The icon looks like this, and the user is MGSVEVO. Not quite sure how you pronounce that. MGSVEVO, maybe? So if you click on Classic Skybox there, and here it should say download, I think, if you haven't done it before. I have actually already gone ahead, as I don't want to waste any time on this. But if you click on download there, and then when it's downloaded, import, and you'll be presented with the usual import screen, where you can select what assets you want to use. You will just need to click on import on everything, and it will import this folder here. Now, once it is imported, you should see all these different skies just here. That's fine, that's exactly what we need. A skybox is kind of like a render that you put onto a camera, which always makes the camera have some sky. So your first thing to do is here where you have main camera, select and press the delete button. We don't actually need that camera, as we have a camera built into our first person controller just here. So if you, in the hierarchy, click the arrow on FPS controller, and then on first person character, you need to go over here and click on add component. Now the component you need to add is in rendering, and it's the second option down. It's called Skybox. Click on that. You'll notice here, custom Skybox, none. All you need to do to create the sky is click on any one of these. You choose one in particular. I'm going to go with number 7, I think. Number 7 looks fine. And I'm going to drag it over here. So, drag and drop. There. You'll notice if you have this camera preview just here, that sky now appears up here. So, if we were to press play, we would see that we now have some sky. And it is that simple to put in a sky as a skybox. Okay, so our main feature of this episode is the day-night cycle. I'm going to do a relatively simple way of doing it. There are very complicated ways, there are advanced ways, but as this is a beginner tutorial, we'll do it a nice, easy way. Okay, so first of all, if you remember, we named Sunlight 001. Let's focus on this and put it there. So what we need to do now is we need to modify our position and rotation to get it how we would like to see it. So for instance, firstly we'll set the position as, let's say, 0. We'll set the y-axis on the position, how about 22 maybe, I think. Should we see where that is? Yep, that's high enough. And we'll also set z or 0 to position, sorry, as 0 as well. Okay, that looks fine. The rotation, let's see. Let's set this, the x as 90. I'm not too sure about that. Let's try changing that back to 30, maybe. Let's try 100. Okay, I think 100 may do the trick for now. But we need to change the y rotation. We'll put that to 0. We'll keep the scale as it is. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is, this is theoretically our sunshine. So this will give our day cycle. So if you go to Game Object, Light, and directional light, we'll right click and we'll rename this to moon light 001. So what I want to do with this is now attach it to our sunlight. Our sun will be the main thing that we deal with, and if you click on sunlight, you'll see both directional lights are now selected, and it is rather bright down here. What we need to do is, if you click on your moonlight, and we now need to kind of position this facing opposite from our sun, and we also need to change the colour. So let's start with the colour. We need to put this as a kind of very dark yellow orange kind of colour. Let's say about there, I think. Maybe there. That should do. Okay, that's fine. Let's set our position. We'll zero out the axis, so we'll keep that there. The rotation, we need to set this as 0, and let's see, we need to put this as 180, I would think, and 180. So this is now facing directly away from our sunlight. So if we select both, you'll see that just here our sunlight is facing downwards and our moonlight is facing upwards. So now what we need to do is we need to create a script that will enable our sun to cycle around our scene, thus giving us a day and night cycle. So the way we do that is, if we go to scripts here, right click, create, and JavaScript, and we'll call this script day night. Okay, so this script we're going to write now is it's about 6 or 7 lines of code it should work out at. It's not too complicated, and yes, we'll save that. Sorry, I should have saved that before, my apologies. Okay, so on our script day-night, remember to delete everything that is pre-written for us, as we don't actually need it. And to do this, we need to set 2 variables. We need to set a variable that will enable us to rotate the light source, and we also need a variable to state how long we want a cycle to last. So we'll type var, so we'll set the first variable, and we'll call this time cycle. We need it to be a float, as it will not be a whole figure. When you set something as float, you can set it up as a decimal, as it were, whereas we used int in these taking scripts, as it would always be a whole number. With this one, it won't be. So remember your semicolon at the end. We need to set up a second variable, so var, and we'll call this, let's see, cycle set. This also needs to be a float with a semicolon. Okay, so now, rather than set our time cycle just here, our numbers, I'm actually going to create a line here that makes things a little visibly easier to use. So if you type time cycle equals, let's say, for now I'll just put this as 1. Okay, so what this figure actually is how long in minutes you want your cycle to last. So currently, as this is set to 1, an entire day and night will last 1 minute. You can change this to, I think it's 20 minutes in the actual Minecraft game. I'm sure a day-night cycle, one entire day-night cycle in Minecraft lasts about 20 minutes. But we can play around with this in a bit. And then you need to put cycle set, and this is a piece of math which will actually calculate that the fact you stated 1 minute, or 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, or whatever you put. So you need to put cycle set is equal to 0.1 divided by 10 times minus 1, and then down. So this line here always has to be the same. It may look a bit strange, but the calculation used will work perfectly when we set up our function. So if you type function update, and remember it's a capital U on update, brackets, open curly bracket. Next line down we need to put transform dot rotate, remember capital R on rotate, open bracket, and we'll put let's put 0, 0, and this is where we put our variable of cycle set. And then finally we need to put space dot world, then close bracket and semicolon, and then finally close curly bracket. Okay, so here we've just basically said that we want to rotate whatever object this is set to using this figure that we have set in our variable cycle set. So now hit Ctrl and S to save your script. Back into Unity, you need to go onto your sunlight just here, and it is just a case, down here you can see we haven't put a semicolon somewhere here at the end. So that's the great thing about Unity. It will always tell you if there is a problem with your script. So if we go to console, it will tell us just here that there is a problem. So if we put a semicolon just here, like we should have originally, and then save, hopefully this should disappear. If not, you can go into console and press on clear, and it will clear it all. Okay, so we have no problem with that script now. So on your sunlight, drag and drop the day-night script straight in. Now hopefully when we press play, we should see, if we look into the sky, our sun slowly moving. If we can find it, I'm sure it's there somewhere behind the clouds, but if we give it just a minute, it should hopefully turn to night. In fact, just for demonstration purposes, I'm actually going to change this to, let's say, 0.2, just to make things a little bit faster, but I will explain a little more in a second. Okay, so we'll set it to 0.2. Let's press play. Okay, so something's not quite working right here. Let us, for now, let's sort out our skybox. So I'm going to remove the skybox just for now, click on none, and then I'm going to press play again, just to check our scene is working. Okay, so it is moving very, very slowly, so we need to play around with our script a little more. Let's set the time cycle to 10, and let's save. And let's press play again. It's moving very, very, very slowly, as you can see. So again, let's play around. Oh gosh. Just realised one thing I have done. I have made an absolute schoolboy error. Just here, where it says 10, we should actually put time cycle. Originally when I wrote this script I had it set to 10 minutes, but we should put time cycle there. My apologies, I do apologise for this. I wrote this script a couple of weeks ago, and I'd forgotten all about it, about doing this tutorial, and yeah, as you can imagine, I'm a bit daft. So I'm just going to set this to 0.5 again, and save, and go through the motions again. So if we press play, take a look up into our sky, you can see our sun is moving. It's slowly coming down, and it's now setting. So now we have some nighttime. Okay, so it's not exactly perfect nighttime. It's a bit strange, strangely light. However, in our next tutorial, we'll be playing with some lighting. Playing around with different lighting to give us different effects. And as you can see, the sun is rising just over this side. There we go. So there's our sun. Okay, so as I said, if you set this to the time cycle you would want, so if we, for example, I don't know, set this as 0.01, save the script, and run again, we will end up with an incredibly fast day and night cycle. But you'll also notice at this point the shadows are also moving. The shadows are what's the word? Well, wherever your point, your source for your light is, it always reflects onto the shadows. The shadows will always move. So I'm going to now set this as 20 and save. So if you can't be bothered writing this script, or you just want to make things a bit quicker, you can get this script from our website for free. So before we end, I'm just going to quickly put in our Skybox again. Let's see, we used number 7, I think, so number 7. Okay, so there we go. We'll leave this tutorial there for now. So remember, you can have a play around with the script. You can do different things, have different skyboxes, and just remember, for the next tutorial, just put together your script so as when you mine your blocks, it works. So that's the end of this tutorial. I hope it's been educational for you, and I do hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.